Welcome back, everyone. Vampire 218 here, bringing you part 2 of my 999 Let's Play. So we'll jump right into things, and this is going to be probably a longer episode. I'm planning to, and just some housekeeping things, my plan here is you're going to probably see by when this is uploaded, I'm going to try and upload 999 twice a week. So I have some other projects in the works too, which should be coming out hopefully in the next few weeks. And I'm trying to, think of ideas for an LP for the 100 sub, a face cam LP type thing. I have a pretty good idea of what I want to do with that. And, yeah, I'm not entirely sure of how it's going to work yet. That's going to probably require a little bit more work than, what's it called, but I do have the time, so I'm not going to give any spoilers of what that's going to be. So in a few months or weeks or whatever it takes me to get to 100, you'll see what it is much closer to that. So we're going to jump right into the game where we left off. Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room into the opposing wall. Grasping to catch his breath, he looked around. He was in a narrow hallway. The water that had followed him out of the room was rapidly pouring out of the door. It flowed quickly down the hallway and slammed into the foot of the short flight of stairs. Just 5 steps, in fact. And at the top of this short staircase... A door! Another door! Junpei leapt up the stairs, straight for the door. The door burst open, and Junpei exploded out of it, only to freeze in his tracks. What other possible reason could there have been to what he saw? What other possible response? What the hell? His voice trailed off, and all he could do was stare. A polished floor stretched out before him, ornate showcases rising up from the edges, each one of them acquiescent from the others. The stairs and pillars were solid wood and Art Nouveau embellishments, and decoration covered the walls and pillars. It looked nothing so much as the entrance to a luxurious mansion from the 1900s. Junpei couldn't help but wonder, was he really in a ship? The water quickly filling the hallway behind him suggested that, yes, he was. As he looked, a fresh wave rolled out of the room he'd been in, gathering speed as it moved towards the stairs. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is totally a wait, what the hell? A wave? Shit, I gotta get out of here. Junpei spun around, his wet shoes squeaking in protest on the polished floor, and ran towards the tremendous staircase in front of him. C deck. B deck. As he ran, he glanced quickly at the plates mounted on the wall, denoting the decks of the ship. He took the stairs 2 at a time, not entirely sure where he would find himself. Just as he begun to wonder where, in fact, the stairs did lead, Junpei saw another person out of the corner of his eye. He stopped short, nearly tripping over the stair, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing to the left of the stairs, there were 4 people staring at him. And on the right, 3 more. All told, there were 7 of them. It looked as though they had been on their way down the stairs. They stopped short when they saw Junpei, their eyes wide. He'd done the same, of course, and now they stood there, staring at each other. Junpei didn't move, one foot placed awkwardly on the next step in the middle of the stride. Who were these people? This entire interaction only lasted a matter of seconds. The woman spoke to Junpei, and time began to move again. I guess there's another of us now. The woman was just, Junpei thought, rather like a dancer. Her clothes covered very little and her prodigious jewelry little more. Hey, you, come on. Hurry. With no further ceremony, she ran straight past Junpei and toward the doors behind him. The sudden proximity of the woman with such striking assets left Junpei momentarily stunned. But the others wasted no time and quickly followed the strange woman. The first to pass Junpei was a young man with silver hair. He threw a quick glance in Junpei's direction as he ran, muttering, "One of us, huh?" Followed him was an older man, his face calm without fear. Soft wrinkles sprouted from his eyes as he came close enough as he passed for Junpei to see wisps of gray hair. His composure and shock of hair struck Junpei as rather like that of an elderly lion. Going up won't do any good. There are 2 doors, but neither of them will open. The next to speak was a girl with pink hair and a high voice, and this is going to be fucking the hardest to do, so I'm going to have to prep for this. Give me a second here. Okay, this is fucking difficult. Alright. Come on! Aren't you coming? You gotta hurry! Her small hand wrapped around the wrist of another man. His eyes were closed, almost as though he were sleeping. His features were graceful, almost serene. And he was dressed rather elegantly for someone his age. Something about his posture seemed very refined, and Junpei couldn't help the feeling he was noble and dignified somehow. He'd certainly never seen one, but this man seemed like what Junpei had always imagined a prince would look like. That's 9 of us, then. All the cards are in hand. What does all of the cards are in hand mean, he wondered. Junpei opened his mouth to ask what the other man had meant, but the girl with pink hair rushed past him and they were gone. He turned in time to see 2 more people running toward him. One of them had a hair like a bird's nest, and he thought a stiff breeze might topple him. And the other was a very veritable mountain of a man. The scrawny one said nothing and scuttled past Junpei, though he was running from something. Hey, what the hell are you just standing there for? Didn't you hear him? The doors on A deck are no good. We gotta check the doors on B deck. Caught it? No, goal. Before he had a chance to respond, the man laid a massive hand on Junpei's shoulder. With no more effort than Junpei would have used to brush aside a fly, the man shoved him out of the way. Whoa! Thrown off balance by the man and recent events, it took Junpei a few steps to get his bearings. He finally regained his balance and looked up at what the other 7 had been running toward. There were 2 pairs of large iron doors set into the wall in front of him. They looked quite sturdy, and each of them had handles jutting from them. Written across the surface of each door in red paint was a number. The door on the right had a number 4, and the door on the left had a 5. They're the same. The guy Junpei decided to call Silver was mumbling to himself. The room I woke up in had a number on the door just like that. You too, eh? With an arched eyebrow, the lion looked over at Silver. My cell was the same. A number upon the door. It opened, I ran down the hallway outside and found myself in the rather grand room, full of stairs, as I suspect did the rest of you. And we're going to be giving him kind of like a Morgan Freeman voice. He's a little bit old, so. It was as though the floodgates had been opened. They all began to talk at once. Me too. I did too. Yeah, a door with a number on it. It soon became clear that each of them had awoken in a room with a locked door and solved a puzzle to escape. They'd all ended up in the same room, almost as though they had been guided there. Yes, we all saw the same thing. That's not important. We have to hurry. You think I don't know that, lady? Before the dancer had time to finish, Silver was already running. He grabbed a hold of the door labeled 5 and pulled. However, fuck, it's not opening. This damn thing won't even budge. Move. You're in the way. The mountain grabbed Silver's shoulder and tossed him aside. His path cleared, he took a few steps back and threw himself at the door. Once. Twice. 3 times. 4 times. The door shook as his body slammed into it, but showed no signs of breaking open. The mountain threw himself at it again. Junpei turned towards door number 4. Next to the door on the wall was a small box. It looked just like the one he'd seen in his room next to the door. If it was the same, then this door was likely locked as well. Still, he had to check. Junpei grabbed the handle and threw all of his weight onto it. It was locked tight as the door next to it, as he expected. Junpei punched the door. It did not respond. Were these the only doors, he wondered? He'd barely finished the thought when the C-deck plate he passed on the way up sprang unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back toward the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs next to the ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. He couldn't quite remember where, but he knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, startled at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him as well. Without saying a word, Junpei walked slowly toward her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was held in place by some sort of magic spell. As Junpei stepped onto her landing, the spell broke. No sooner had he set his foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. Ah! The quake caught the girl unprepared, and she fell. Moving on instinct, Junpei leapt to catch her, or so he thought. Her face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own. He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested that she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. For a moment, that seemed to stretch out for a very long time. They stared at each other. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. Water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, lapping faintly at the walls and ceilings, but eventually that faded as well. The silence was complete, a thick, muffled blanket. At last, the girl opened her mouth. "Oh my gosh, is that you, Jumpy?" Jumpy. Her words echoed through Junpei's mind, and suddenly his memory returned. Akane? Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kurashiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They'd gone to elementary school together for 6 years. But what was she doing on the ship? Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. He could feel the warmth of her face. Feelings he'd thought long forgotten began to work their way to the surface. He could feel his face heating up. At that moment, a speaker cracked to life, and a cold, eerie voice filled the room. Welcome aboard. I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this, my vessel. With the voice's invasion, the spell between Junpei and Akane was broken, and all hints of I have no fucking idea. Romance instantly forgotten. They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last, they found it. A speaker set into the ceiling. I am Zero, the captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here. The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by a crackle of static. But Junpei recognized it. How could he have forgotten it? It was the same voice he heard from the man in the gas mask. Hey, asshole, what the hell's this? Come on out here, I want to get a look at you. What do you mean to do to us? I mean, have you participated in a game? Some of you, I know, are familiar with this game, the Nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line. Nonary game? What the hell's that? The voice continued in... The rules of the Nonary game can be found upon your persons. They are simple rules. Read them. Nonary game. Hey, there's something in my pocket. Check this out. Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt a telltale crumple of paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal. Hey, I got one too. Then it would seem that Zero seemed fit to grace us with each a letter. Would you mind terribly reading it to us, young man? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short moment of surprise, did as he was asked. On the ship, you will find a handful of doors emblazoned with numbers. We will call them the numbered doors. The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you the total number on your numbered bracelets and find the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Only those who have opened the door may pass through. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Bracelet, Junpei figured, had to mean the bulky thing on his wrist. He glanced around. It looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to much the same conclusion. The purpose of this game is simple. Leave the ship alive. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker crackled to life once more. There is one last thing I must tell you. As you have no doubt surmised, the ship has begun to sink. On April 14th, 1912, a famous ocean liner, Titanic, crashed into an iceberg. After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time, 9 hours. That is the time you will be given to make your escape. The voice finished and the speaker went silent. The sound of the bell tolling echoed through the hall. It came from the dance hall adjacent to the stairwell. It took those assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. 7, 8, 9. The The sound of the bell, the 9th bell, faded away. The 10th never came. That meant the time was 9 o'clock, most likely 9 in the evening. When Junpei had peered out the window of his cell, he had seen nothing but blackness. It had been night time. If that was the case, then they would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day. Now it is time. Let our game begin. I wish all of you the best of luck. The speaker went silent. It did not speak again. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent and deep in thought. Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the Nonary? Why had he chosen to make them a part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims? Or did he have some sort of other purpose? And why had Junpei been chosen as a part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? But one question was foremost on his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen each other since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No, that seemed impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? Get moving? Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hey, wait. Don't tell me you're actually going to do this. This Zero says. No, not what I mean. The lion shook his head mildly annoyed. I'm saying, let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. We what? Their separate investigations finished, all 9 people returned to where they had left one another. The result of all their work was nothing. They were completely sealed in. Their hard work had not gone completely to waste, however. They had learned a number of things as they scoured parts of the ship they could reach. It seemed that they were confined to decks A through C. C deck was as far down as they would be able to go, however, the reason being the D deck was completely submerged. Strangely, however, the water had risen no higher than D deck. The flow seemed to have stopped somehow, as evidenced by the surface of the water on D deck, which was smooth as glass. The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it. Perhaps this Zero fellow has used some sort of remote control to seal a watertight door lower deck. He said our time limit was 9 hours. In other words, this water won't rise again for 9 hours. Then you're saying we won't sink till then? Well, that may be a little too optimistic. No point to wishful thinking. There were 3 metal doors on C deck. A single door stood off the side with 2 more on the wall facing the central staircase. None of them had numbers or verification devices. They were, however, locked like the other doors. No matter how much they pushed and shoved, the doors refused to move. The mountain and lion threw themselves against them a few times, but to no avail. The door in the back had a keyhole. Just above was a strange mark in the shape of a circle surrounding a dot. There were 2 other doors on C deck as well, but it was clear they were elevators, as each had a button next to it with an upside-down triangle. They tried to push the button. No response. Apparently, there was no power running to the elevators. To the left of the elevator was a card reader. The card reader also had a strange mark on it, It looked like a lowercase h with a dash drawn across the upper stem of the H. Junpei stared at it for a while. This is the symbol of Saturn. It's an astrological symbol. Then the mark on the other door. I think that's the sun symbol. They had seen the same symbols on A deck. There was a door on either side of the stairs. The one on the left had a keyhole and a symbol engraved on it. This is the Earth. This is an Earth symbol. The horizontal line symbolizes the equator and the vertical one the prime meridian. Junpei looked up at the ceiling. There was a great circle cut in it, perhaps for a skylight or glass dome, but it had filled with a gargantuan metal plate. The metal looked very solid. Anything short of an explosive charge was unlikely to damage it. There were several windows along both sides of the ship, or at least there had been. They too were covered with metal plates. In other words, we're trapped. All exits go nowhere. Junpei was not happy. The girl with pink hair spoke up. Well, I'm sure we can go somewhere. We just can't open them. Then the mountain spoke. We don't think, for all we know, they just open up in the walls or take us in circles. The prince did not agree. No, I'm sure they go somewhere. Otherwise, what would the point of them be? And we can open them. Well, 2 of them, at least. You mean the numbered doors? All eyes turned toward the doors with numbers on them. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. Hey, wait a minute. I think I said this earlier, but I don't think we should do that. The dancer moved in front of the doors as if to block them. We'd have to be crazy to open these doors. If we do that, we're doing exactly what Zero wants us to do. Suddenly, everyone began to speak at once. I agree. I don't. That's a terrible idea. We should keep going. We should stay here. We don't have any other way to open these doors. We should just wait. Someone's bound to come find us. We don't have time for that. In 8.5 hours, we will go to sink. The clamor of voices made it next to impossible to determine who was saying what. Their arguments grew more and more intense until the people were shouting and screaming at one another. Junpei had remained silent, but at last he could take no more. Hey, shut up! They fell silent, and all eyes turned towards Junpei. He felt each stare burning into him, but he refused to flinch. Before we try and decide where we're going, what we're going to go to do, before we try and decide where we're going to go, there's something else we ought to do. What's that? We need to exchange information. We don't know anything about each other. I want to know who you guys are. Who you are, where you came from, why you ended up here. Don't tell me you aren't curious too. They were silent. Some of them looked the other way or bit their lip or crossed their arms, stared at the ceiling. But one of them spoke up. It was Akane. I agree. I think Jumpy's right. Jumpy? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about him. I just call him Jumpy. His name's Junpei. She pointed towards Junpei. We're childhood friends. We went to the same elementary school. Wait, stop. Don't tell us stuff like that, you don't ask about. Zero's probably watching us right now. What are you gonna do if he's listening in? Would that be bad? Hell yeah, it would. We don't know how much that bastard knows about us. Maybe he just picked up a bunch of random people to kidnap. If that is the case, it'd be dangerous for him to let him know too much. If Zero knows who we are, he could go after our families, eh? Maybe he'd tell us, he had them to get us to do stuff, But we still need to know our names are. It's gonna be hard to talk to each other if we don't have names. Alright then, why don't we use code names? Tim, apparently it seemed like the obvious solution. Code names? Yeah, like, we'll each pick something. Like, I'll be 7. 7? Why are you 7? It seemed a fair question. The mountain stuck out his left arm. "'Cause my bracelet number says 7. Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's a good idea." He smirked. "Alright, I'm gonna be Santa. Any chumps know Japanese? No? Well, San means 3, so I'll be Santa. You know, like Santa Claus fits, don't you think? Then your bracelet number." "Yeah, it's got a 3 on it. Good job, Grandpa." Just like the mountain had done, Silver thrust out his left hand. Sure enough, the face on the bracelet read 3. "Very well then. I will go next, shall I? My bracelet number is 1. Given that, I think Ace seems appropriate." I'll be Lotus then. I'm sure you all know it has 8 petals, which means, of course, that my bracelet number is 8. "I would appreciate if you would call me Snake. My bracelet number is 2. Since Ace has chosen cards, I think I'll choose dice. Snake Eyes, clearly, which is particularly relevant, given that I am blind." Blind, really? He'd kept his eyes closed during their entire ordeal, which had suggested something strange, but to hear it said so casually, it was something of a surprise. Everyone seemed a little nervous at the prince's proclamation, but no one seemed to know how to react to it. There was one person, however, who didn't seem surprised in the least. The girl with pink hair. "I want to be Clover. You know, like a 4-leaf clover? Good luck, right?" Looking almost bored, she held out her left hand. The face of her bracelet showed the number 4. They come around to Junpei. He held out his bracelet. "Alright, my number is 5, so my code name is going to be..." Why have one? It's not like any point now. The dancer cut him off mid-sentence. "I mean, we all know your name already. You're Junpei." "Oh." They all nodded. Akane stepped forward nervously. "Then you should call me by my name too. Because, I mean, it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair to Jumpy." "You're thinking it's not cool for you to hide your name after you told us his?" Akanji fidgeted awkwardly. Junpei decided he had to do something. "What's your bracelet number?" "It's 6. She hesitated for a moment, then held out her left hand. As she claimed, the bracelet's face showed a 6. Junpei looked after for a moment and thought, "Alright, then why don't we call you June?" "June?" "Yeah, you know, it's like the 6th month of the year. So we'll call you June." "Jump!" Akane kneaded her hands and looked up at Junpei uncertain. She smiled back at him reassuringly. He smiled back at her reassuringly. "Are you good with that?" She thought about it for a few more minutes, then seemed to have come to a decision and gave Junpei a small nod. The names decided, Junpei ran over them quickly in his head. 1 was Ace, 2 was Snake, 3 was Santa, 4 was Clover, 5 was Junpei's number. 6 was... Akane was 6 and Junpei had given her the code name June. 7 was 7. 8 was Lotus. That meant 8 of them, including Junpei, had revealed their bracelet numbers. But there was still one person left. He was the man with the glasses and hair like a bird's nest. He hadn't said anything since they'd met on the stairs, and he didn't look like the sort of person who was inclined to the conversation. His skin was pale and his breathing was heavy, soaked nervously in sweat. His behavior seemed suspicious, or perhaps he simply was emotionally unstable. And I'm going to be taking... give me a sec. It was difficult to tell. Whatever the case, it seemed that he had only a fingertip's worth of grasp on his sanity. The girl with the pink hair, Clover, walked up to him slowly. She put her hands on his hips and eyed him suspiciously. "What number are you?" He didn't answer. His bloodshot eyes twitched from person to person. His breath came in hot pants. "Hey, I'm talking to you!" The man licked his dry lips with a shaking tongue and spoke in a voice like an old paper. Isn't it obvious? There are 9 people here. And you know numbers 1 through 8 are. The only one left. So you're 9? Yeah. He extended a trembling arm. The bracelet did indeed say 9. Clover looked at it contemptuously. What's your code name? Code name? What do you want us to call you? We all made up names. You should too. I don't need one. Why not? Because I'm not going to stay here with you. He took a shuddering breath and exhaled. Clover looked at him with something very like disgust. You've got some sort of plan? I do. Yeah? What's that? Are you sure you want to know? Yeah. All right. Let me show you. I'm gonna do this. Aye! By the time they realized what he was doing, it was too late to stop him. The man's body moved like a snake's. In the blink of an eye, he had slid around behind her and wrapped his arm around her waist. Hey, what the hell you think you're doing? Santa leaped forward toward Clover and the 9th man. He was halfway there when... Stay back. Suddenly, the man's hand drove into his pocket. It came back out with a knife, a pocket knife. He held it to Clover's pale, quivering neck. If you get any closer, I'll cut her open. Santa skidded to a halt. He snarled at the scrawny man with a knife and gritted his teeth. Yes, that's right. The man's smile was neither friendly nor reassuring. Sweat poured down his neck, soaking the collar of his shirt. Clover, are you all right? Snake's voice sounded oddly concerned. Yeah, I'm fine. Her voice shook, making her words even less convincing. What the hell are you gonna do? I told you. This is my plan. What are you going to do with her, you sick son of a bitch? Don't worry. I'm not going to do anything to her. If she just does what I tell her to, I'll let her go. He started to move backward, slowly keeping his grip on Clover. Keeping their distance, Junpei and the others followed. Eventually, the man reached the wall. He gave a start as his back touched and then glanced around and spoke. Verify. What? The left. Look on your left. Do you see the device on the wall? Place your hand on the scanner panel, the round part. What if I don't? The man's nostrils flared as he looked like he was about to choke. Are you an idiot? What do you think? I could slit your throat right now. I'll kill you if I have to. All I need is your bracelet. Just do it. Do it now. He pressed the knife against Clover's neck hard. Slowly, she stretched her left hand out toward the device. Her back was to it, and she had to feel around for the moment. She found the circular panel. It made a cold electronic noise on the display above her hand, and asterisk appeared. So that's how it works, Junpei thought to himself. By placing one's palm on what the 9th man had called the scanner panel, the user's bracelet number would be entered into the device. Should your total number on your bracelets and find the digital root of the number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Junpei shifted his eyes to the door itself. The number on it was 5. The 9th man seemed to know a little more about the device operation than he should. How had he known exactly what to do? Good, you're done. Next. His bloodshot eyes crept from person to person until finally they stopped upon the lion, Ace. You, right? You're the only one with a number 1 bracelet, right? Yes, I am, so... Oh, then you're next. Just verify your number like this little brat did. What are you doing? Do it! Don't you care what happens to her? Okay, just calm. Okay, just calm down. Ace held his hands, palms out. The ninth man jerked his chin toward the device. Slowly, cautiously, Ace moved towards the device. After what seemed like an antagonizing eternity, he reached it. Now, verify. Ace nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. The device beeped again and a second asterisk appeared. Now the device had Clover and Ace's numbers. 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 equals 5, the same number written on the door. But it wouldn't open just yet. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one number door. The door needed at least one more person. Who would that be? Get back! His voice shook, but the knife he held to Clover's throat made his words a command. Ace took 2 to 3, then 3 steps back. No, farther, more than that. Go all the way back. Slowly, Ace did as he was told. The ninth man's lips curled into a cruel, twisted smile. That's when Junpei understood his plan. Clover's 4 and Ace's 1. The ninth man 9. 14. Digital root of 5. In other words. Thank God all of you are so cooperative. Now I can get out of this nightmare. He pressed his own hand against the scanner panel. A third asterisk appeared on screen. He dropped his hand to the lever on the side of the device and pulled. The door opened with a heavy metallic groan. He let go of Clover. Wait! Junpei leapt toward the ninth man, but he wasn't fast enough. The ninth man shoved Clover. Ah! And hopped through the door. Okay, have a good one, guys. I'm going to head off now. Well then, goodbye. He raised his hand and waved a twisted smirk on his face. Then he was gone. The door ground shut with a dull clang of metal on metal. Clover, are you all right? Snake ran to Clover's side as she lay on the floor. Yeah, I'm fine. She climbed unsteadily to her feet and once there, leaned heavily on Snake's shoulder for support. Junpei ran to the door. The others followed him. Several pairs of hands grabbed a hold of the handles and pulled. They grunted and strained, but... Shit. It won't even budge. Won't budge. That's when Lotus spoke. Her voice was quiet. Do you hear something? Like what? Like some sort of beeping. Junpei pressed his ear against the cold metal of the door. The others did the same. You're right. I can hear it too. What is it? Then they heard something else. It was the ninth man. Shit! Why isn't it stopping? God damn it! You lied! Lied? This wasn't supposed to happen. This is wrong. This is wrong. His voice shook with fear. Safe on the outside, they stepped back from the door and looked at one another. What is happening in there? Open the door, please. I'm begging you. Help me. Please, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Junpei grabbed a hold of the device. He slammed his hand on the scanner panel. Nothing happened. Why didn't it register him? He looked at the display where the asterisk had shown up. It said engaged. Oh my god, there's no time left. Listen, I was lied to. He lied to me, he put me in here. It was him. He killed me. It was him. Guy! I've been Vampire 218, bringing you part 2 of my 999 LP. If you like the video and you want to see more of me playing through this or any of the other content I do on my channel, please make sure to leave a like, share, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And, tune in next time to see what happened to the ninth man, what's going on in this, why we're here, and just everything. I really hope you are enjoying this series so far and my content in general. Bye.